What is up, Super Fam and Brovengers alike? I am Sensei Finito, and welcome to Marvel Bros, where we discuss all things Marvel and everything pop culture. And today we are doing our Episode 7 watch party and review for Ahsoka. I have loved me some Ahsoka every step of the way. The show has just been getting better and better, to be completely honest, and I think that's something that I am super appreciative of, for lack of better words. A lot of the Star Wars stuff so far has been very hit and miss, and so it's good to finally have something, at least to me, that feels like it's been a hit every step of the way, and it's been getting better and better and better. Last week's episode was amazing. We finally got to see the man, the myth, the legend, Thrawn in full Thrawn action, and it was awesome. He was great last week, and I think he'll continue to be great this week. I know a lot of people had some opposing feelings about Thrawn, just because, you know, the actual live action actor is not very reminiscent to what we got with, you know, his animated counterpart. And we, you know, that's something to we'll definitely be talking about and diving in today, and see how it's gonna go. Actually, we can start a poll. Do you like live action Thrawn? Do you like live action Thrawn? Let's go ahead and start that poll, see how everyone's feeling, get a little bit of a temperature check. I'm super excited to get in today's episode of Ahsoka. We are about 45 minutes away from episode 7 being released on Disney Plus, so it should drop at 6 o'clock. I'm super pumped for that drop as well. I don't know what we're in for today. Ahsoka has literally blown my mind with every episode. Like, the things that I was expecting to happen, they've went above and beyond that. Similar with what happened with The Mandalorian. That season of The Mandalorian, I did not expect us to be moving so swiftly through the story, but we did move through the story quite swiftly for The Mandalorian, and I believe that we'll have that same effect with Ahsoka. I think today's episode is going to definitely just continue us on that path of great goody goodness, and just being able to, you know, just being able to feel all the vibes that Ahsoka has to offer. So I'm pumped. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you follow us on social media at Marvel Bros to stay up to date with all the latest news, movie reviews, and content that we post every single day. And you can also follow me on social media at Sensei Finito to stay up to date with all my thoughts, theories, and opinions on whatever particular thing we may be partaking in within that particular time. We're gonna check out this episode 6 breakdown, and kind of get through there, you know what I'm saying, and talk about it and vibe out, and then that episode will be dropping a little bit later. I think I've missed 2 episodes of Ahsoka, like doing a watch party for them, so I don't know. I know we might not get as much people coming back because, the algorithm be algorithming. You know what I mean? Like, the algorithm be algorithming sometimes, and it'd be like, yo, you weren't here for the last 2 episodes, so they'd be like, nah, bro, we're not gonna be here for this one. But it's all good. You know, it's all good. I think this week's episode will definitely give us more context as to what's going on in the galaxy, in this other galaxy that we're in right now. So we're gonna jump into chat, see how everyone's doing, see how everyone's vibing and feeling, and then we'll get into that episode 6 breakdown, and then we'll get into a lot of our theories about what can happen in today's episode, talk a little bit more about Thrawn, talk more about Ezra, talk more about all the lovely things that happened in last week's episode. Draxus is in the chat. Oh, let's get the chat fixed. Draxus is in the chat. What's up with it, Draxus? How you doing, my guy? I appreciate you for being here with us, my man. Dave Filoni is such a W. I agree. Hello, Sensei and people of chat. Yo, what's up with it, Mari Sue? How we doing?
Hello there.
Hello to everyone. I hope everyone's having a good one. Thrawn looks great. Enoch and where we stand for the revival of the Empire. Thrawn looks great. Enoch and where we stand for the revival of the Empire. I'm not sure what you're talking about with that, but yeah, Thrawn. I have a lot to say about Thrawn, I think. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that, Draxus. But I'm happy that you like Thrawn's overall look and the whole vibe. And Enoch was definitely top tier for that episode. Like he looked top tier is what I mean. All of those night troopers, I believe is what they were called, look pretty incredible. Thrawn was yawn? What? For real, Marisu? That's how you feeling? Thrawn was yawn? What did you not like about Thrawn, Marisu? I definitely would be interested in hearing your opinion. So, episode 6 of Ahsoka saw a lot of things going on. We went through a lot, right? We started off with Ahsoka on the ship with Hu Yang, and they were talking, and honestly there was a huge part of me that wanted to like experience a flashback and like listen to Hu Yang's story. I'm not gonna lie, because I thought we were about to get like some crazy world building. Like, I thought we were about to get next level world building, and I was super ready for that. It's okay that didn't exactly happen. Like, I don't have any issue with that, but I just was ready for it. You know what I mean? But I'm happy that once we got to the title screen, we got to, get to the next scene and just keep it moving. I really appreciate what we got from this episode for many, many reasons. But when I first saw Thrawn, 100% it threw me off, because Thrawn is supposed to be this dude, like this buff dude that fights battle droids every single day, all the time, and all this stuff. And while I did feel the same menacing vibe from Thrawn, especially because it's the same voice actor as it was in the animated show, you know what I mean? The voice actor is now the actor for Thrawn. So I think that is the reason why it was so much easier for me to kind of be like, all right, is because the menacingness of Thrawn was still there because of the voice, but seeing the actor did not completely match with the voice and the menacing vibes that I was used to. But you know what I mean? Like, the menacing voice mixed with the actor threw me off, I guess you could say. But when you look at people like Count Dooku and even Hera, and a lot of these other characters, they do look quite different from their live action counterparts. So I do have to kind of put that into consideration. And I think I do need to see more from Thrawn before I can say whether I like him or not, because it definitely threw me off. But I do like what we got from him, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if I like him yet, but I know I like what we got from him for that first time seeing him. I think it paid it off pretty well. I didn't expect to like meet him and he was just gonna start murdering people or anything like that to solidify how menacing he is. What we got is what I expected from Thrawn. I just thought he was gonna look different, and I think his look changed the majority of things for everyone. I know a lot of people were like fan casting Benedict Cumberbatch and a lot of other great, amazing actors that would have fit the bill. But for all the actors that they chose to play him, that voice is so, I don't know what's more important. You know what I mean? Is the voice more important, or is the person, the way they look, more important? Is the acting or the actor more important, I guess, is really how it breaks down to at the end of the day. And for me, the acting made up for the actor not being as on par, quote unquote, as I would have expected him to be. So I was actually, like I said, I was okay with Thrawn once we got to like keep watching him and hear him speak and have that vibe come off, because he still felt very menacing, mind you, but it wasn't the menacing that we expected, because Thrawn has we're used to that Thrawn physique, we're used to certain things with Thrawn from the animated shows and even from the books and stuff. It's kind of painted a certain picture of Thrawn in our heads. But once again, it's just a case, for me, it's a case of the actor or the acting. And for me, the acting isn't so bad that it makes the actor bad as well. The acting is actually so good that the actor doing the acting, it brings them up as well. Yes, I was just had to make sure that I was saying the right thing. And yeah, that's just kind of how I felt about that. It definitely built up Thrawn in my head with all these awesome speculations, what he was up to in the other galaxy. And he was basically just waiting to go home the whole time. Not really, though, because think about it. He has a full army over there as well. The witches have been rocking with him. So what you call waiting, I call planning in this case, I guess. I don't feel like he was just waiting. That's not the vibe. That's not the full vibe that I got from it. I feel like he was waiting for a little while, but like just the end of the waiting is kind of it. I feel like he's been building his army, doing the magic stuff and all of that. I think that's been going on basically the whole time. Because something else that was pointed out was if you look at Ezra when we see him, he has a necklace of dog tags from all the different night troopers, I guess, that he's taken out while he's been there, which is pretty badass. So we're able to see that there's definitely been some things that's been going on, and I'm pretty sure this next episode will give us a little bit more context on just exactly what type of civil war has been going on in this different place between Ezra and the Night Troopers and Thrawn and the what are they called? The witches, but they were like the mothers or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I think all of that magic stuff has been going down for the majority of the time while they've been out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more context as to what that magic was looking like. Because I don't really think that they just automatically created the Night Troopers overnight or anything. I don't think any of that stuff happened quickly. And then, of course, having to relay the messages back and forth and all that shit. So there was definitely a shit ton of waiting involved, but I don't think that was the only thing that was involved. You know what I mean? Like, he was definitely waiting for the signal to get picked back up. He was definitely waiting for what is her name? She has such a normal name that I always forget it. It's like Myrtle. Her name was like Myrtle or something. Ahsoka... cast Morgan. See, she got a super normal name. That's like one of the most normal names in all of Star Wars. Morgan had to do her thing on this side of the galaxy, and like Thrawn has definitely been doing his thing on his side of the galaxy. So because he still had his ship, mind you. Like, he still has his ship. So I could only imagine the terror that he's been causing on that side of the galaxy, you know? Sure, he's done a great job of holding together the forces he brought with him, but I kind of expected him to have conquered a planet or two. I think he has basically conquered the planet that they were on, that Dathomir planet. You know, I think that's basically him and the witches. That's definitely just their domain, right? Because they have like an entire base and shit like that. So I think that planet is probably under his control. And then his stormtroopers are I'm pretty sure they're zombies. I'm pretty sure that they're zombies. So I think there's a lot of magic that had to go in with getting them right. And if they're not zombies, then they are for show like heightened through magic. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they're zombie troopers though. They're called night troopers for God's sakes. So I'm pretty sure that they're, they got a little spice to them. But that is a good point of, I guess we expected a little bit more of a conquering to go on. But we don't really know how active this galaxy is. So far, we've only met that one alien race. And that alien race seems like they're very primitive, quote unquote. So it's very likely that this side of the galaxy might not even have anything worth conquering to Thrawn. And all he cares about is getting back to where he's trying to get, to where he can really conquer some shit and it means something. You know what I mean? So he can really return as heir to the Empire, you know? I think that's all Thrawn really cares about. So, once again, in a lot of ways, he was just waiting. He was just waiting to get that moment to come back and conquer everything. I mean, think about it. He literally had the galaxy at his fingertips, and then Ezra teleported them away, and it was all ripped from him. So I can understand why Thrawn would kind of have a chip on his shoulder almost, and just be like, bro, all right, I am not doing anything until we get back to that. Until we get back to the galaxy that I've been trying to conquer. But I still do understand what you're saying. He definitely could have had something going down, But if you think of, I might be mistaken. When you really think about it, though, I don't think Thrawn had that many stormtroopers with him when they got taken to the other side of the galaxy. So I don't know where all these people have came from. That's really a big thing that was like one of the biggest issues for me. Is like, did he have was there that many stormtroopers when he did? Like, I know they took like 3 ships, but it seemed like he just had so many night troopers like ready to go, and they definitely look undead. They look like there's definitely some magic going on with them for sure. And I don't know if it's like magic has been weaved in there, but I definitely would like to see. I hope this episode starts talking a little bit about what he's done while he was over there, other than amassing a large army, because that seems to be like the gist of what every villain does in Star Wars is amass a large army. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what we get into today. I'm not trying to diss the guy, Marisu. You 100% are dissing Thrawn. It's okay. It's all right. you are trying. You're right. You're not trying to diss him. You're doing it full blown. He could be about to pop off this episode. That's very true. I mean, we only have this episode and 1 episode left after that. I mean, we still have the movie also, but I'm not sure what's going to be going down. I am not sure what's going to be going down, but Dave Filoni definitely been cooking. Like 100% man's been cooking. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about Thrawn. If you like him, let me know. If you don't like him, let me know that too. It's all good. I guess they could have done they definitely could have done more to make him a little bit more threatening, but I understand it's like, what are we going to do? Have him murder Sabine in front of Ezra? Have him murder Ezra in front of Sabine? Have him murder any of those people? Could you imagine if in the next episode he takes his jacket off and it's like a suit that he's wearing, and then he just takes that off and he's all that would be crazy. I know it's not happening, but that would just be hilarious. Like, he's putting on the old man facade. Old man facade would be crazy. The fact that the witches defer to him makes him terrifying. Yeah, that's one of the things that I really, really appreciated too, is that they went above and beyond to let us know that it's like the witches do nothing without his say-so. Like, not announce anything. And that was like, oh man, they look at him like Big Papa. He is Big Papa around these parts. What do we do, sir? Like, oh, wait a minute. They are the dark friends, and he is the dark one. What's going on? I guess he would technically be my guy Ishmael if we're getting technical, but hey. Are we getting technical? All right, yo. Let's get it. Pip, pop, plopping, and slopping. We got T-minus 30 minutes until the episode is going to drop. So we're about to check out this episode 6 breakdown coming at us from New Rock Stars, and we're just gonna go over all the things that we may have missed, get a little bit better hype going, and then the episode will probably be coming out around the time while we're watching this and discussing it. So we'll get into the episode once it drops. I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. There we go. And Let's get it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Ahsoka Episode 6, Far, Far Away, a title that evokes the classic Star Wars blue text that was invoked by Jason Syndulla last episode. The phrase Far, Far Away proving to be the answer to the question of where Thrawn went, as well as the answer to this question.
Where are the turtles?
So many cool questions and deeper bits of historical lore tying into this episode, so let's take it scene by scene for all the details you might have missed. And thanks to Missed Play for sponsoring this video. More about them in a moment. And again, we really appreciate you tuning into these Star Wars analyses. It's honestly an honor to stay up late writing these breakdowns every week. I just care a lot about this series and I want to share all of that with you. So let's dive in. Okay, over that Lucasfilm opening, we hear this. According to the closed captioning, distant Purrgil calls. But we don't begin this episode distant from the Purrgil, we open with them inside of one. So this call being distant tells us that we are actually hearing this call from the perception of the three great mothers of Peridia, native Dathomiri Night Sisters who harnessed these Purrgil. This call is how they know the Jedi is coming. Hyperspace in this opening shot looks different than we've ever seen it before in Star Wars. Normally it's a glowing blue tunnel surrounding the traveler. Now it's streaks of teal and pink and yellow and orange, all the colors in the visible spectrum, streaking past the whales, streaking between each other and under their fins. It's just such a cool way of showing that this form of hyperspace travel is beyond the kind that we've seen before, because we are traveling from galaxy to galaxy. Now, you may remember that moment in The Mandalorian Chapter 17 when Grogu and Din Djarin were traveling through hyperspace and Grogu saw a Purrgil. And I might be crazy, but in this shot, for a few frames on the right side of the screen, you do see a blur through hyperspace on the other side of this. That could be Din's N1 starfighter. I had to scrub through it all frame by frame to see this. I think I honestly spent an hour staring at this shot and how I can't like unsee it. Now you may be asking, would the timeline match up? Ahsoka Tano doesn't appear in The Mandalorian Season 3, but Captain Carson Teva does appear on both seasons, and I suppose it's possible for his mission with Hera on CTOS happens before all that stuff he got into with The Mandalorian and like Tim Meadows in The Mandalorian Season 3. But you know, for all we know, the Purrgil could be bending time with their form of hyperspace travel. I just want this to be true. Let me have it. Ahsoka tells Huyang that she remembers a Purrgil from the stories that he would tell them.
When we were younglings, back at the temple.
Ah, yes. History of the Galaxy, Parts 1, 2, and 3.
One being the best, of course.
I love this. It could be a meta nod to the Star Wars original trilogy, where I would definitely say the first is the best, but you know, I can respect the opinion that The Empire Strikes Back might be better. Although we could also see parts 1, 2, and 3 as the three trilogies, the prequels, the original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy. And Ahsoka might be saying that the prequels are the best because that would be more of her era, but really she spans all the eras. Look, if you legit think that the prequels are better than the original trilogy, no shame. I just think Ahsoka would be more into a trilogy that ends with Anakin being redeemed rather than one that ends in tragedy for him, even if Dave Filoni identifies most with the prequel era. But that's just our meta understanding of this. What does this mean for the characters in the universe? George Lucas originally conceived his Star Wars narrative as the Journal of the Wills, with the Skywalker saga being an epic myth told by an advanced alien race called the Wills to inspire their youth, which is why every film would begin with the phrase "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away," which again supplies this episode with its title and is a phrase now being examined by this Ahsoka series as we, for the first time, travel from one galaxy within the Star Wars universe to another. But what would the actual in-universe history of the galaxy be that Huyang would tell all these young Jedi? Currently, the accepted chronology begins with something called the Wellspring of Life, the birthplace of midichlorians. This gets explored in Clone Wars Season 6, Episodes 11 and 12. Episode 11 takes Yoda to Dagobah, where he hears Qui-Gon's voice explaining to him that all living things form the living force, and that feeds the more abstract cosmic force. And that cosmic force is contained in this wellspring. So
what the hell?
In episode 12, Destiny, Yoda heads to that wellspring and encounters inside of it this kind of planet geysering up all this midichlorian energy, and he encounters these 5 masked priestesses who each represent emotions and put Yoda through various trials. It's a really cool arc, and it's really where life began in this galaxy. Sometime after this, the gods of Mortis came to live in the ethereal realm of Mortis, and then eons after that, sometime around 25,000 BBY, the Dai Bendu, an order of priests who were precursors to the Jedi, established what became became the
originally
Jedi
supposed to
Order
be the
on
Jedi.
Ahch-To, led by the Prime Jedi, which was the figure depicted in that mosaic pool that Luke sat beside in The Last Jedi. And I feel like that last part of it, the Dai Bendu, would be the part 1 that Huyang would have told Ahsoka about, the dawn of the Jedi Order, as the wellspring of life and Mortis were kind of surprises to Yoda and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like, while these mythological elements might have been buried somewhere in the Jedi archives, I don't think it's something that Huyang would have been programmed with and told us bedtime stories to all these young Jedi on the Crucible. Then again, in Rebel Season 4, Palpatine and his archaeologist friend did kind of mention how the Jedi archives mentioned the gods of Mortis. I just don't know how much all the Jedi younglings would know about it. Still, they are important for us to know, and I will explain why later. Anyway, Ahsoka worries that Sabine went with Baylan willingly and that she didn't have enough time to train Sabine how to make the right choice, but Huyang says the Force provides insight but doesn't give all the answers.
Perhaps for Sabine, it was the only choice.
A choice she made for herself.
That is your fear.
Ah, fear. He's implying that fear is a path to the dark side. You know, it leads to anger, hate, suffering. He's saying, don't let fear corrupt your mind, Ahsoka. So Ahsoka takes the note and she forces the fear out of her mind, getting back to some stories.
On second thought, tell me one of those stories.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
And I love it because that is what Star Wars is for us. A way for us to escape our anxieties and just lose ourselves in some great stories. And this is actually the first time we hear this spoken aloud in Star Wars. But unlike the Wills and some other galaxy telling the story of Star Wars, Huyang must be talking about beings from another galaxy from his perspective who came to this galaxy and settled it. Those could be the celestial deities like the Mortis gods, but this episode also implies other races like the Dathomiri originate from other galaxies. So let's move on. When the Eye of Sion exits hyperspace, it leaves a trail that crackles with electric bolts, which feels like a Sith-y violation of nature, like they weren't made from other galaxies. Let's move on. When the Eye of Sion exits hyperspace, it leaves a trail that crackles with.
Look at that! Oh, this stuff like this just makes me go
electric
crazy
bolts, which feels like a Sith-y violation of nature, like they weren't meant to go on this journey. Like, notice also that ring was smoldering orange when it first arrives and then cools down. Like, it really feels like they pushed it to the limit. So they approach the planet Peridia, surrounded by a ring, which turns out is composed of Purgle bones. The Cetus star map depicted Peridia surrounded by a ring of Purgle, but I didn't know that meant a ring of dead Purgle. Morgan says Peridia is
the ancient homeworld of my ancestors, the Dathomiri.
So, the Dathomiri, the people of the planet Dathomir, home to Maul's mother, Mother Talzin, were not originally native to that planet Dathomir. They settled that planet after migrating from another galaxy, and they just named it after their own race. This is a huge deal. Morgan says of the Purgle,
my people were among the first to harness and ride the creatures in the days before time was counted.
Jeez, between the Purgle and Danny Trejo telling us that the witches of Dathomir also used to ride the Rancors, these witches were just riding everything. Now, in Star Wars Legends, the ancient Rakata were the first to use hyperspace technology, and based on that blue Kyber crystal celebrating the Rakatan Uprising mentioned in Andor Episode 4, the Rakatans are Star Wars canon, but Morgan says that the Dathomiri were among the first, so there could have been like a few of them. But she says the days before time was counted, which would be old, predating recorded history, predating the Jedi Order, because when the Jedi started, they were counting years back then. Baylan says,
Peridia is a graveyard.
So it wasn't a fairy tale that he grew up hearing, it was more of a ghost story, a trek that Purgle make at the end of their lives, kind of like elephants migrating back to their known burial sites. That's a real thing, folks. That elephant graveyard in The Lion King was based on a real ritual that these massive mammals do. It sounds like Purgle do a similar thing. Their dropship takes them past towering statues of Night Sister heads atop towering pillars, with their mouths contorted in this grotesque scream. I wonder if these could function as amplifiers for the Great Mother's voices that echo back to Morgan through time and space. The statues on Arcana, remember, were full statues that had bodies and feet, but just their heads severed. This is kind of the opposite. It's just heads on skinny pillars. It's kind of creepy, like they're giant pest dispensers, but it looks so cool. Remember, the statues inside the ruins on Arcana were not screaming like this. They looked at peace. So I just kind of like the idea that it's the witches who stayed who cry, and it's the witches who left who listen. They approach this towering structure built into the side of the cliff that looks a lot like a dour Minas Tirith from Return of the King. Atop Atop the statue is a more pristine version of the Cetos ruins, the slabs uncorrupted by the elements. And Morgan finds here 3 Night Sisters, the Great Mothers. According to the episode credits, their names are Lachesis, played by Jane Edwina Seymour, who played the Borg Queen in Star Trek Picard. She's on the right with the rounded headdress. Clotho, played by Claudia Black from Stargate SG-1 and played Chloe Fraser from the Uncharted games. She's in the center with the single pointed headdress who does most of the talking. And then Actropa, played by Gerald Prescott Gallion, known for playing Madame Xanadu on the Swamp Thing show. She's on the left with the 2 pointed headdress. So these names are a fascinating choice because Lachesis, Clotho, and Atropos are the names of the 3 fates of Greek mythology that we've referenced before. Those fates were also known as the Moirai, which is where Dave Filoni got the name of Ahsoka's bird companion that represents a daughter of Mortis. Now these witches, of course, wear similar red headdresses that Mother Talzin wore, and that appearance was based off of original designs for the Sith created for the Phantom Menace and then repurposed for Clone Wars. But the fact that these 3 headdresses that we see here are all slightly different could be telling us something, because in Greek mythology, Clotho is the youngest and she spins the thread of human life. Lachesis is the middle, who measures the thread, and then Atropos is the oldest, who cuts that thread and decides when people die. So this Clotho, with a K, has the headdress with 1 point, like the pointed needle that spins the thread. Lachesis has the rounded headdress, but Atropos, who would cut the thread of light, has a 2-pointed headdress, like scissors! But of course, these were the 3 witches that Sabine referred to when she figured out how to unlock the sphere in episode 1. But since those ruins were thousands of years old, I'm wondering if there must always be 3 caretaker witches on Peridia. It's kind of like something that gets passed on generation after generation. But yes, these were the voices that Morgan Elsbeth heard calling to her on Cetos. Episode 2 was titled Toil and Trouble, which was an allusion to the 3 witches of Macbeth. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Yeah. Like the fates of Greek mythology, they tell the future. They tell the future of Macbeth, but it's always cryptic. Anytime a political leader tries to use this magic, it always blows up in their face. Clotho says,
"Welcome, child of Dathomir. You do our ancestors
See, it pays to know your Greek mythology.
With additional voices layered on top of her own.
I'll get on it.
Often did. It's like when one of them talks, all 3 of them are talking. They speak for all the witches of Dathomir throughout time. Atropos says,
"It reeks of Jedi."
Ooh. And Lachesis confirms,
"It is dangerous."
And this angle is especially creepy because it's from Sabine's point of view as Jane Edwina Seymour looks directly into the lens of the camera. But they refer to Sabine as it, disrespecting Jedi as animals, like false practitioners of the Force. Because yeah, it sounds like they predate the Jedi Order, but it also indicates that Sabine does have some connection to the Force, or at least a connection to Ahsoka. But my question is, do they smell this Jedi doo-doo on Baylan? Because later they seem surprised when Baylan is revealed as a former Jedi by Thrawn. So Baylan just must be really good at blocking away that light side of the Force. Like the 3 witches in the Arcana ruins, they hover the spheres over their own palms and yeesh those fingernails. It's just an interesting point to compare to Sabine, because we saw Sabine's fingernails in episode 2, that her fingernail polish was chipped. And I like how the red beams that form between these spheres kind of work like rope that ties someone up. It's a kind of mystical thread, being the weapon of these 3 witches that are based on the fates, and they're controlling the threads of fate. 3 creatures howl at the Peridia Tower. Dave Filoni's wolf obsession coming back, but rather than wolves or loath wolves or anything, these are the howlers that we see later, which share their name with reptilian creatures from Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, but these seem to be more canine and horse-like. The VFX on these things are actually pretty good. You kind of forget that they're not actually there.
I definitely forgot. Ooh, nice papers.
Baylan's dialogue in this episode is fascinating.
This is a land of dreams and madness. Children's stories come to life.
He describes Peridia as a kind of archetypal forest, kind of like in A Midsummer Night's Dream where magic can happen. But remember, he called this place a graveyard. So it's a place where magic once lived, but when it was abandoned, the magic started to fade away. Kind of like the ruins of Valyria in A Song of Ice and Fire. The doom of Valyria led to the gradual death of the dragons and magic leaving this world altogether. But Shin Hati says that she didn't grow up with these stories, but Baylan says,
stories of this galaxy are considered folk tales, some ancient past. Long forgotten.
With good reason. Sometimes stories are just stories.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of commentary on how sacred we should hold these Star Wars stories. I love stories about stories, but with Shin's response, it kind of feels like to the younger Star Wars fan, what was sacred to the older generation might not be as sacred to them. Baylan says that he watched a Jedi temple burn and he couldn't make sense of it at the time, but
as you get older, look at history, you realize it's all inevitable. Fall of the Jedi, rise of the Empire. It repeats again and again
Yo!
and again.
Now, George
Balin,
Lucas would
yo.
describe this as, oh, it's like poetry, it rhymes. But for Balin, someone living inside of this story, he's just sick of the cycle. So when Shin asks him if Thrawn will give them power, Balin says,
That sort of power is fleeting. What I seek is the beginning, so I may finally bring this cycle to an end.
so Balin is on a fascinating quest, kind of like what
Okay,
Daenerys
so,
Targaryen
bruh,
spoke of in
this
season
is-
5, wanting to
this
break
is
the
the
wheel
sci-fi
before she
Wheel
just
of
kind
Time? Is
forgot
that what's
about all
going on
in
here?
season 7 and 8. He wants a deeper power on Peridea beyond Thrawn.
And that beginning is here.
He's trying to
If the
break
old
the wheel,
stories are
baby.
true,
I have some thoughts on what this could be later. All of us have a mobile game or two we can't put down, but thanks to Mistplay, you can earn gift cards while you play. Mistplay is a loyalty app for mobile gamers. They have a vast library of games covering every genre you can think of, from casual games to in-depth RPGs,
hell?
puzzle games, and more. The more so in her dungeon, Sabine whispers,
Ahsoka.
Now in episode 5, when Ahsoka was pulled out of that water, she said Anakin, but we heard a female voice whisper from the cosmos. That female voice might have been Sabine in this moment. Sabine tries to use the Force to escape the dungeon, and for a second it seems like it's working. But nope, the rumbling is actually from the Chimera, the Star Destroyer of Grand Admiral
They
Thrawn that we
finessed us
saw
like
in
4
Rebels.
times
The
like
Great
that
Mothers
with
and
this.
Morgan watch it arrive, and I love how Clotho seems to be holding a rope or some prayer beads, as she would be the fate who initially spins that thread of life. But the Chimera is framed perfectly so that it looks like it's rising from that tower, kept alive by Night Sister sorcery. You can see one of its top spherical shield generators, and several plates all over its hull are augmented with gold parts, like the
Bruh.
material that Eye of Sion and Morgan's dropship are made out of. These golden additions may be repairs after the
Alright,
Purgle
I'm
wrap their
pretty sure
tentacles
the
around the
episode
ship,
might be
or to make
up.
it so that the Chimera can easily attach to the Eye of Sion and get that hyperspace tow. You'll notice that its underbelly has the same painted pattern that it had in Rebels, and I just cannot get over the symmetry of the shot, perfectly bisected by the fold of the hull and the corner of the tower. It looks so good. It's worth remembering that since the Chimera got zipped off to hyperspace by the Purgle in the Rebels finale, it still has on board, presumably, the pieces of the Lothal Jedi temple that Palpatine tried to use to corrupt Ezra. Thrawn's forces are revealed.
Bro, look at that.
I think this is my favorite needle drop Kevin Kiner has ever composed thus far. The organ plus the electric distortion just hits so hard. It's such an uncommon sound in Star Wars, and it's done to shock us with this unlikely return of a face that you do not normally see in Star Wars. Thrawn's stormtroopers chant his name. They still worship this guy despite their dwindling numbers and their broken armor. Yeah, their armor looks awesome. It's been 9 years since their exile in the Rebels finale. Their armor's
9
dirty.
years.
It's got mismatched parts, probably taken from some of the dwindling numbers, used to replace the broken pieces on the people who are still surviving, and it is all cracked. It's held together with red cloth, which shows how their wounds have been nursed by these
Oh,
witches of the red
shit.
cloth, and their imperial conformity has been fused with a uniquely Dathomirian aesthetic. We actually saw some red cloth wrapped around Maul's temple behind that bonfire on Dathomir in the Rebel Season 3 episode Visions and Voices.
shit.
Now, the captain of these stormtroopers is Enoch, played by Wes Chatham from The Expanse. His stormtrooper mask has been fully
Yo,
broken
I've been watching The
at
Expanse.
Bonfire on Dathomir in the Rebel Season 3 episode Visions and Voices. Now, the captain of these stormtroopers is Enoch, played by Wes Chatham from The Expanse. His stormtrooper mask has been
That's
fully
my
broken
guy,
and
too.
pieced
He
back
goes
together
crazy
almost in
in
the
The
style of
Expanse,
Japanese
yo.
kintsugi art, but with a golden face mask, kind of like Tigress of Gaul and Gladiator, a bit like the golden mask of General Clytus from Flash Gordon, which was a huge influence on George Lucas in the early Star Wars films. So it just shows how Enoch is part of a post-imperial cult of Thrawn. Thrawn being someone who always loved art and history. Actually, the name Enoch comes from the Bible, who was a human who became the immediate attendant to the throne of God, a human who actually got to enter heaven as a human. This reflects Enoch being at the side of this godly figure of Thrawn. Now, Lars Mikkelsen voiced Thrawn in Rebels and plays him here, and images of this guy from trailers just do not do him justice, because really it is his voice that makes the character so good.
Yes.
He enters with one of the sickest opening
See?
lines in live action of any Star Wars character ever.
What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us.
Holy shit. Remember, Balin described Peridia as a land of dreams and madness. It's almost like Thrawn might have heard him with that, because his response here is what was first a dream has become a frightening reality. Sorcerers deal in dreams, military strategists deal in reality. So a reminder, Thrawn is a chiss with blue skin, red eyes, and I love how they kept the V-shaped indentation on his forehead. We've talked before about Thrawn's origins from Timothy Zahn's 1991 novel Heir to the Empire, and Dave Filoni bringing Thrawn back into canon as the villain of Rebels Season 3 and 4. Watch our Rebels recap series for more info on this guy. I also did a whole Thrawn timeline video back in April, but just seeing him here carrying himself with pomp and majesty, it is exactly true to form for Thrawn. But that said, notice how they allowed Lars Mikkelsen to keep his normal aged appearance and his build. If you look closely at his white uniform, it has been wrinkled and frayed in some parts, especially on the collar. Despite Thrawn's best efforts, he cannot hide the toll 9 years has taken on him. Thrawn is now the Napoleon Bonaparte of Star Wars. Napoleon being one of history's greatest military strategists who took over France as a dictator and a god king, then exiled to Elba, and then made a grand return to power before his final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. Thrawn is about to depart his Elba. Thrawn says Enoch will begin the cargo transfer as per Thrawn's agreement with the Great Mothers. Morgan says,
I have seen the catacombs. It will take some time.
So what is this cargo? They actually went into that in an amazing episode of WikiLeaks that came out last night. Go check it out. But actually later we see Thrawn's men moving these casket-shaped containers from the tower to the Chimera. I think these are corpses of past Night Sisters and Night Brothers on Peridia that the Great Mothers want to resurrect in this other galaxy. Kind of like what we saw Talzin doing with the zombified corpses in Clone Wars. It's not just this small army of stormtroopers that Thrawn plans to return with. He's going to come back with a true army of the dead. Actually later when we see one of these caskets floating past the camera, it shakes with an unnatural rattle.
Mothers, you wish to speak with me.
And as Thrawn tells Morgan,
Death and resurrection are common deceptions played out by both Night Sister and Jedi.
a clue that these Night Sisters plot to resurrect their dead. Actually, Marok may have been their first experiment at doing just that. So back in this scene, Thrawn recognizes Balin.
Then you must be General Balin Skull of the Jedi Order.
He calls him General. Thrawn knows that Balin had a military rank as a fighter in the Clone Wars. This shows his expertise. He knows all the names, kind of like Batman knows all the names of the detectives and the cops and the GCPD. So then Thrawn meets Sabine, recalling her as one of those rebels he chased down in Rebels Season 3 and 4. Thrawn is shocked that Sabine's obsession with finding Ezra was worth so much to her.
How that singular focus will reshape our galaxy. You've gambled the fate of your galaxy on that belief.
You can see in his eyes, though, some uncertainty over this loose thread, kind of like a chess master trying to outsmart someone who is just kind of winging it. That's one of the most frustrating people for chess masters to play. Sabine gets a howler and blasters and Ezra's lightsaber back, and Enoch says,
Die well. Live or die.
Yo, knowing that that's my guy from The Expanse has me juiced.
The choice is yours.
No cap. That has me super juiced. Like, what are the odds? Who was that was telling me to watch The Expanse? It was one of the Wheel of Time, one of you Wheel of Time fans that came through.
Who cold? It is the kind of thing a stormtrooper on this graveyard planet for 9 years just trying to make the most of his death would say. Sabine uses the same kind of scanner that Han used to look for Luke on Hoth and Empire. Hera actually used a bulkier version of it last episode on Cetos. But Sabine gets attacked by marauders. But whereas before she's been a better shot with her blasters and not as good with the lightsaber, now it's the opposite. She has to resort to the lightsaber, and with the lightsaber she successfully finishes them off. Now as Balin and Shin ride out from the castle, it does have some runes written along the top. This is not the alphabet we figured out for our end credit star map video. It's a different language. It kind of looks like the Sith language of Urkatat, but it's not that either because this would predate that. These kind of look like the runes that were on the inside of the chalice that Maul had Ezra drink from a Dathomir when he used the Night Sister magic to combine their minds. Meanwhile, Thrawn and Morgan observe this galaxy star map, which I'm gonna assume is not the galaxy Peridia is in, but the main galaxy star map as it's all charted out, whereas I don't think the Peridia galaxy would be as charted. So it looks like Thrawn is making plans for where to strike when he returns. We get some lighthearted hijinks this episode of Sabine shaming the Howler and then meeting the Noti, which are nomadic creatures akin to turtles or crabs that disguise themselves as rocks. Yeah, they're a lot like the Ewoks, but there's more pragmatism. They seem a bit further along. Like they wear multi-layered clothes with fasteners made out of teeth. My wife pointed this out, but those might not be shells that are part of their anatomy, but rather shell backpacks that they wear. Because think about it, how else would they get these slim-fitting clothes on their bodies? But this Noti recognizes the rebel insignia on Sabine's pauldron children because he has a similar patch, proving that they know Ezra Bridger. It makes sense that Ezra would get along with these guys, as throughout Rebels, he'd love to disguise himself in different uniforms and using still as pseudonyms. Like at some points, he calls himself Jabba the Hutt and Lando Calrissian. Balin finds the severed staff to know Sabine's lightsaber severed this, and Balin tells Shin about Ezra Bridger.
Comes from a breed of Boken Jedi trained in the wild.
Boken Jedi.
After the temple fell.
Boken refers to the wooden training swords that we saw Ahsoka and Sabine using in episode 3. So this just kind of refers to a homeschool Jedi. But Balin tells Shin that she's not a Jedi.
He was trained as a Jedi. I trained to be something more.
Now, Balin says that he misses the idea of the Jedi Order, but not the true weakness of the Jedi Order. And he sees the future here on this planet in what was once the great witch kingdom of the Dathomiri. And he says while the great mothers are fleeing, Balin sees an opportunity.
Perhaps they flee a power greater than their own. Something calls to me. Can't you hear it? Something stirs here. Can't you see it?
So, what is this greater power in this Peridian wasteland? Beyond Thrawn,
Bruh,
that the great mothers are fleeing, but Balin is drawn to. Maybe the Mortis gods, which might explain Balin's reluctance to kill Ahsoka, because Ahsoka has the spirit of the daughter inside of her. Maybe Balin is drawn to the purest form of the Force religion through the Father, before it was bastardized by the corruptible Jedi Order. But maybe this great power is Bendu, the Force being in Rebels Season 3 that eluded Thrawn and predicted Thrawn's defeat at the arms of the Purgle. Remember, Bendu was kind of an agnostic. He reached out to both Kanan and Ezra and Maul, and in the Rebel Season 3 finale, he equally destroyed Imperial forces and the Rebel fleet. He's kind of on neither side, and it would be really fun for Thrawn to see Bendu again. But I'm going to throw another theory at you. That power that Balin recognizes could be the priestesses from the Wellspring of Life. What if the Night Sisters branched out from those priestesses, and the priestesses cast them out of the Wellspring, like Lucifer from heaven, and then banished them to this hell of Peridia? The reason why the Dathomiri might have migrated to our galaxy could have been some gradual attempt to get closer and closer back into that Garden of Eden. I gotta dig into this in another video because it's really heady and there's a lot of moving parts. But Sabine follows the Noti to their lakeside village with rounded trailers that kind of looks like the shells that they wear. It looks like the females of this group wear.
The episode is out, ladies and gentle giants. The episode is out. Let's get to Disney Plus. Bound chicka wow wow. Episode 7, 45 minutes. Hera must answer to the New Republic while far, far away a reunion takes place. We're about to get into it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is ready and excited, because I am excited to get into what is episode 7 of Ahsoka. This show has been fantastic and amazing, and I hope everyone has been enjoying it just as much as I have. And if you haven't, that's okay too, but I hope that you are still ready to enjoy this episode tonight and at least enjoy the vibes that will be going on tonight. All right? So, you guys already know I'm not going to be able to show the entirety of the episode from start to finish because they be set tripping around here. But what I can do is have a little bit of subtitles popping off on the bottom of the screen for y'all. And we will do a count to 3 to jump into the episode and experience all that we need to see. Okay, so I hope everyone is ready to get into it. I hope y'all got your snacks ready. I hope y'all got everything ready that you need. Go to the bathroom because we about to be here for the next 45 minutes for sure. If you ain't got your snacks, I got just the thing for you.
Hi, my name is Dominique Pruitt, and I started Dom's Bomb Gourmet Popcorn LLC in the summer of 2021 to introduce delicious and unique flavored popcorn not found anywhere else in the world. Why, you ask? Because I make it in my home with love, just for you. We offer over 10 flavors and are continuously creating new flavors that can be customized to any color or taste for your next event, party, or fundraiser. So go find yourself to our website and find a bombastic flavored popcorn at donsbombgourmetpopcorn.com, or you can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Don's Bomb Gourmet Popcorn.
That is right. Make sure y'all go and get y'all Dom's Bomb Gourmet Popcorn, where the popcorn is always bomb and gourmet, and of course is made by Dom. So, with all that being said, I hope everybody is ready to get into our watch party and review for episode 7 of Ahsoka. On 3, we will press play together and experience this magical goodness. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
She went with the enemy willingly.
Impossible.
She was fated to make that choice. There wasn't enough time to prepare her to make the right one.
Perhaps for Sabine, it was the only choice.
Yes, Bridger. And
My God. Thank you.
if a stowaway of a trudge of Meridian, destroyed with prejudice.
You and Ahsoka Tano are to return to Coruscant with the fleet. The Senate Oversight Committee is going to determine if your command should be permanently suspended.
They was tripping off of her. All right. Let's get it, ladies and gents.
Exactly what I was doing. In the best way I know how.
See, protected the New Republic by ignoring the Red Rules.
No, I protected the New Republic by being real. Senate CNN at least agree that General Syndulla's actions brought to light that there was incident on Satan's.
Yes, but this report reads like a child's fairy tale. Jedi, false Jedi, Star Bat, Star Whale, distant hell. Honestly, we to believe anything.
Morgan Elsbeth is leading a coordinated effort by the Imperial remnant.
Objection. Imperial. Sensational term. There is no proof of any coordination between the scattered and dwindling number of Imperial forces. What about the conflict on Mandalore?
Oh.
Exactly my point. Gideon was a warlord acting on his own. There's no proof of a greater conspiracy and thus no immediate threat to this republic.
If Ron returns, that will change quickly. The possibility of what might happen or your unwillingness to see it.
I'll tell you what I see. I see a general who abuses her authority for personal gain. And I will not stand for it. I motion that General Syndulla be court-martialed for disobeying a direct order.
Is that C-3PO? What the hell?
I object.
Who? Bro, shut up, bro. Ben's my favorite villain of the show so far. Yeah, facts.
Without her. This is preposterous. The court cannot admit evidence of this kind from a mere droid.
He said, "What the?" Yo. Well. Nah, bro. Next to him, hitting him with the. Yo. All right. Yeah, Amir Droid is definitely crazy. Well, my Disney Plus app crapped itself. What? Gonna restart and be a few minutes behind? Oh, damn. All right, Marisu. What's up, chat? Yo, what's up with that?
Hello there.
It's hella real. Ooh. Bringing Ahsoka, baby. What's the title? Give me the title. Dreams and Madness. Oh, buckle in. Buckle in and up. Damn, we still in hyperspace? What the hell is happening? Damn. Damn. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh my god, that looks awesome. They about to murder the whales. The Purgils. Oh! Oh! Oh, they're mines! Holy space mine. That's cold. Yeah, they're gone now. Oh my god. Oh. Oh! Oh. Oh shit. Did you see how he was like,
However, we are getting to know her. And if she's anything like her mom, she is unpredictable and quite dangerous.
Look at that. Thrawn, baby.
Still trying to process everything you told me. The Empire was defeated.
Cattle and Endor.
Emperor died.
That's what people say.
There's a new republic. Jeb's training recruits. And Hera's commanding the troops. It's everything.
It's been a while. You know, I was beginning to think we'd never find you.
How did you?
We finally talk about Zeb. That's a plus.
Makes sense.
It's complicated.
To the usual level or worse?
Worse.
Talk about something else, I guess. You know, getting on is kind of important.
Ahsoka took me on as her apprentice.
What? Why? I mean, congratulations.
Go on.
No, that's great. Makes sense, of course. Trained a little before, back when I was first learning.
I remember.
Yeah, so where is Ahsoka? Planet?
Damn. That was like 15 years ago for them. He hurt the whales. He's officially on my shit list. Oh.
Great message. I'm in need of your assistance.
No Sam is my name.
Ahsoka Tano lies hidden within the great house. Find her.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Either my scans are being jammed, or there is too much debris. Should I try again?
No. We don't need a scan. Doesn't matter what.
Your bond is that strong.
Oh.
Hasn't been all bad. Weekday made a few friends. I know he's been great. Took me in when I really needed help. Set me up with this pod. Mobile here.
Okay. Oh, damn. Oh.
Shall we prepare our defenses? We're the focus of the Jedi's attention. Tano with the suit has been around, but we are quiet and safe far from here. Contact the fighter group and have them re-engage the opponent.
Oh.
Josephine Wren and Ezra Bridger. And take your place in the coming empire. You won't help? Your ambition drives you in one direction. My path lies in another.
Oh.
I've located Ezra Bridger. Send me his coordinates now.
One parting lesson, Jim. Impatience for victory will guarantee defeat.
It's about to go down. Oh, shit. There's a lot of them.
Red Arrow, we received a signal pinpoint Bridger's location. Dispatch 2 gunships to assist the mercenaries. If Lord Bailey proves capable, he may yet win today.
Oh.
They're peaceful people.
Peaceful, fine. You didn't mention defenseless.
They survived well enough.
Oh. This is awesome. You really gonna shoot at people that got shells on them? Like, bro, that's not gonna do the job. See, look. Like, they're in giant shells. Why are you shooting at them?
Lightsaber?
Oh, yeah.
Great. You better get ready. Lock the door. You'll be fine. Go.
Not the little dog horse thing standing.
Cannot land while under attack. Standard Jedi mission protocol states.
Won't need to land.
Oh, not this again.
Yes, this is. Once I'm on the ground, draw the fighter's way.
Yes, yes, of course. Just remember what happened last time.
You got the timing wrong?
And didn't I feel terrible?
No! On my mark.
Copy.
Three, two, one.
Let's go.
Disappointed?
No. However, I'll allow you to interfere.
I don't have time for this.
That I know.
Bro, I don't know, bro. You better be careful, G. She might kill you, bro. She really ain't got no time to waste, Balin. You gotta. Ooh! The stance.
Plan.
Here. Do your thing. Your lightsaber, take it.
Yuki.
What?
I don't need it. Besides, you can train it.
Very funny.
No, I'm serious.
Take it.
I gave it to you. It's yours now.
Freaking Ezra, bro.
No. Force my ally. That's all I need.
Oh, shit. Oh. Bro is literally fighting with the Force. Have we seen that yet? His hair. is nasty with the Force. Holy shit. Bro, you're the Force G, bro. You were not supposed to just get Force pushed. You're lacking. Yo, you can see her running away in the background. That was awesome. Ha, and stole his dog horse. Bro needs a lightsaber. Oh, bruh. No, they're about to go. They about to go crazy right now. Ooh. Yo, her having that Mandalorian shit too is crazy. The Beskar?
Destroy them. Wait. We could talk. Or we could just... Don't you want to take us as prisoners? Prisoners. Fire!
Come on. You a little girl. You are way out of your league. Relax.
Well, they're all back together. I hope I survive long enough to see the outcome.
Okay, wait. Are they all gonna get back up? Yo, are they all gonna get back up?
Recall the gunships, call off the arrows. These are unfortunate, but acceptable losses given the absence of Lord Vader. In the grand scheme of things, one might even call this first match with Tano a success.
I see only our enemies reunited.
Let us show you what I see. With our enemy distracted, the cargo transfer is now almost complete, which means we shall soon leave this forsaken place. Ahsoka Tano has lost the one thing she could not afford to lose today. Time.
Oh.
Time is very much on our side now, and I should keep it that way.
Bro is literally playing a completely different game. Nah, they out of there.
Guys, having a feeling. Think I might be going home after all.
Damn. That was a pretty damn good episode. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, I have like, bruh, this is crazy. This episode. Whoa. I know exactly what's going. Like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen in the finale, but I know exactly what they're doing in this show. So I have a good guess as what we might get from the finale, since we know that this show is leading into the movie. Who the hell was David Tennant? Was David Tennant still the Stormtroopers or the Clone Troopers? We didn't have a flashback or anything. What voice did he do? This music and this star map, I wish we could get a big zoom out of it. Beautiful, yo. Because the thing that I don't understand is, why do all of the paths lead to this one place? Because whatever is calling out to Balin is directly because of how important all of this other things are. We have a lot to learn from this. We have a lot to learn, yo. What a fantastic episode. David Tennant is Hu Yang. Why do I keep thinking David Tennant is the guy that does the Clone Troopers voices? Who's that? Who's that guy? What's his name? It's like right on the tip of my tongue. His name's not David Tennant. It's Tamora Morrison. Tamora Morrison. I don't know why, but every time I see David Tennant's name in this, I think of Tamora Morrison for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that just keeps happening. Every time I see his name, I'm like, bro, who is he in here? You know what I mean? That episode was truly amazing, yo. I'm not gonna lie. This show is doing a lot for me. I'm like ready for it 100%. This show is so good. This episode is definitely continuing on the 9.5 out of 10 train for me. I'm not gonna lie. The music, the score, everything that we're getting with this show is just continuing to just make me feel the vibes of Star Wars. I love what we got to see from Thrawn here, letting us know how tactful of a man he is, truthfully, and he is really bringing just a certain level of threat to the table, just knowing that he's just chilling. You know what I mean? He's not even worried. He's just trying to get to the next step in his own plan, and I think that we are doing a lot to build up a whole, like, we have a whole lot of things that are going to be coming left and right. And I'm really interested to see how all of these things like cross over. I don't know if we know when the Mandalorian movie is supposed to come out, the Mandoverse movie. Because there's a Mandoverse movie, but I don't think we know when the Mandoverse crossover movie. Because that's what a lot of this stuff is building up. I don't know what's going on with I don't know what Balin is doing. Like, there's so much stuff going on in this show, and we only have one episode left, so I know that a lot of that is going to be left for, you know, that show and some other stuff. Like, I'm really excited about where we can go with this with this era of Star Wars, because like the Mandoverse is just really solid, and I know that the movie that we're going to get from this is going to be freaking crazy, because the setup that they've been doing for it has been tremendous. And I know there's a ton of other shows that are supposed to come out, but I'm not sure what era of Star Wars those shows are supposed to take place in. Like, I know the Acolyte is like back, like further in the past, and I'm not sure where other shows are supposed to take place. And then of course we're supposed to get other seasons of other shows as well. It'll just be interesting if all this stuff starts to cross over more to where, you know, like crossover so much to where the show, like Boba Fett, what happened in Boba Fett with the Mandalorian was not the best idea, but I did appreciate it because we were able to get a little bit of that crossover going. And in some ways it feels like these shows shouldn't even be called anything and just be Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be like the Mandalorian or anything like that, just because we're at this point in Star Wars where there should be a ton of crossover at the right, like from where we go forward. Because, like, we have information about what's going on with Mandalore. We heard Mandalore being mentioned. So it's like there's a lot of different things that are going on in this universe at the same time. And it feels like we're at the moment where we're supposed to get some crossover stuff going, to get a little bit more context of what's been happening in this galaxy versus that galaxy. You know, like, I don't know. It feels like that's the next step for me. Can we please take the crab folk with us when we leave? I promise to take real good care of them. I'm really digging Ultra Instinct Ezra. I think that's a really good way to say it, because he was using the Force like quite a bit, and he was fighting with it, and I like that. And he was definitely one with the Force. It's gonna be interesting where we get to go with him. I'm low-key hoping he doesn't shave, because I like seeing Ezra look like Space Jesus. Gets me hyped. Shin versus Ezra would have been dope to see, though. But I like that they're keeping it that Sabine is Shin's, like, rival. Because, once again, they are very equal with their abilities. And their just the same way that their masters are very equal with their abilities. Bro, the finale is going to be wild. Yeah, definitely going to be wild. Oh. Tamora Morrison, yep. 10 out of 10 episode. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, Samurai, for real. How you doing, by the way, my G?
Hello there.
And how are you doing, Christopher Baker? I'm not ready for the cliffhanger. Yeah, bro. The cliffhanger is definitely going to be... It's going to be one hell of a thing, man. I think whatever we get from that cliffhanger, my guy, I feel like there's a lot of possibility. There's just too much possibility as to what we get with this next episode. We might all be stranded in this other galaxy, but for all we know. You know what I mean? Ray Stevenson continues to break my heart every time he's on screen. I don't know if it's just the role he's playing, but he just looks like a man who knows his time is almost up. That's very true. It's the same, even the way he's saying, you know, like, do you hear it calling? Like something is calling to me. That is so, it's just on a deeper level of what actually is calling to him. And I do agree with you. He does keep looking out as if it's, you know, his time's about to be up. And it's very interesting to see that Shin actually didn't continue to follow her master. I didn't really expect that. But I guess it's true that his path that he's going on is far different than the one that, you know, she was going on within her future. So I'm interested in knowing if her future, where her future is going to lead her. And I'm interested in knowing where his future is going to lead him, most importantly. And I feel like we might end the show. I think like he might get the most book end of the show, and everything else kind of be left as a little bit of a cliffhanger. And I can also feel like he possibly breeds a new order of some kind. I think that's really possible. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's really possible that he could be the birth of something new that even occurs in this galaxy or something. I mean, we don't know. I honestly thought this galaxy would be a little bit more inhabited. But so far as we know, the only people that exist in this side of the galaxy that we've seen are those little turtle people. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it would be interesting to see if something else spawns from what he may find here. He does have a lot of those characteristics of something that I feel like he reminds me of something in Star Wars, and I'm not sure what that something is that he makes me recall. But I love seeing Ray Stevenson as Baylan in this show. He does a fantastic job. Every time him and Ahsoka are talking or fighting or whatever, I just love it. It just does a lot for me. The Mandoverse movie is a ways out. We still have to get Skeleton Crew and maybe more Mando, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. Yeah, I'm not sure where Skeleton Crew falls in the universe of the Mandoverse, because I know, like I said, the Alkalite is going to be taking place a while back, and I'm not sure if the Skeleton Crew is in the time of the Mandoverse, because if so, it would be really dope to see if like the skeleton crew is actually from this different galaxy or something weird like that. I think that would be dope, but I doubt that's what's going on. But I'm just saying, like, it would be dope if they were hiding some information that they couldn't tell us until this time, and it'd be like, oh well, surprise, this is actually what the skeleton crew is about, or this is actually what this show is about, and it's actually connected to this that you guys didn't know about yet, or something. I don't know. I have a feeling that the Republic is going to lose like the Avengers in Infinity War. I mean, well, we know that they gotta lose because we know that the First Order comes to power. We just don't know where that's gonna happen. All this stuff is happening, and also Luke is setting up the new Jedi Academy. Leia, Han, Chewie, R2, and 3PO are still around. Are all still around? Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I'm not gonna lie, man. This era that we're in is probably one of my favorite eras of Star Wars. The era of the Empire is dead, and Thrawn is using dark magic, and the Empire is using cloning technology, just doing everything that they freaking can, trying not to lose power. Like, bro, that's freaking awesome. And that you just got you got bro trying to take over Mandalore. Like, there's so many different things that are maneuvering at this point of Star Wars, and there's so many different fractions that are trying to take the head of the snake, for lack of better words. It's like they're trying to be the new head of what's going on in every stance, to where you just really don't know who you can trust. You don't really know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. And I love that. I love that. It just feels so true to what would actually happen, you know? Like, it's not like, oh, after Star Wars, after the Emperor's dead, it's just happily ever after. Like, nah, G, there's still going to be political turmoil. There's going to be a lot of deals that need to be happening. There's going to be a lot of talking that needs to occur in order to get a lot of these different factions and just all of the things that were going on during this terrible time in the galaxy. We have to heal somehow, right? And you have people still serving, freaking building this machine to go and get Thrawn in the first place, or supplying the necessary, resources to make that happen for them, all for the sake of money. It's like, yeah, bro, we don't really care about the Empire or the Republic. Whoever's paying us is whoever we're serving. Like, yeah, man, that's pretty much how it would be. that's how it always is. It doesn't really change. So I love seeing how all of that's going on. And Luke and Leia are still doing everything that they can to try and also not seize the power, but make sure that the power is not taken too strongly. Luke is trying to reestablish the Jedi back to what they mean, or back to what they once were. But that's not happening. Leia is trying. Everyone is fighting to make something happen, and none of these things actually work. None of them do. Not one thing happens. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what's gonna be popping off next, because no one's plans worked. None of them. No one's plan worked ever. So we're gonna have to do a lot of, right now we're doing a lot of background lore and world building. So once Rey starts to build her new Jedi Order, or the new Jedi Order, we have a lot of these other characters and a lot of different understanding of what the Force truthfully is, because the Jedi as we knew them never got to understand the Force as they were supposed to. They were always 3 to 5 steps behind of how the Force could actually be used, and Palpatine knew way more, and that we know that Palpatine knew way more about the Force because he was even using some magic, and that's how bro got into the world between worlds as well, just doing his own wild shit. You know what I mean? So everything is always circling back and connecting to the next thing that we already know has happened or has occurred. As far as the events of Andor, even the Mandalorian, the Mandalorian, this last season that we just got, I guess, yeah, a little bit of, no, yeah, that was Andor, right? Honestly, don't remember. Was that Andor? Yeah, that was Andor with the... Was that the No, that was Mandalorian. The most recent season of the... I always forget because the most recent season of The Mandalorian and Andor, they felt really similar in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways when it came to like the political intrigue that was going on. But you have to remember that the dude that was working with Moff Gideon, that Moff Gideon's right-hand lady, ended up finessing into getting taken and gentrified or whatever happened to him. You know, he was one of the head dudes that was working on the cloning things that bring Palpatine back to life when we get to the sequel trilogy of 7, 8, and 9, and that's all the cloning stuff and all that shit. You know what I mean? So we're actually doing a lot of covering the basis when it comes to all of the different shit that was going on, and who knows, maybe even the Witches of Dathomir may have had something to do with all the stuff that was going on at the Sith Temple, and maybe they had some shit to do with bringing Palpatine back as well. We really don't know just yet, but it's possible. It's possible. I can go for Maz Kanata showing up, and what is the cargo? Thrawn is loading up. Are those some kind of creatures from the galaxy? Clones? Who knows? Those are definitely some type of zombie thing for sure. They're definitely some type of zombie something. Like they are some zombies. They are. I don't know what else to say other than that. They gotta be some type of zombie thing. Maybe even his old dead. You know, his old dead troops. Because there was a lot of them. Let me see. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There was 3 rows of 17. So we got to get that 3 times 17 popping real quick. 3 times 17. So there was 51 of those things on the ship when Thrawn shows what's going on. When he shows the picture of them we're almost done loading them up, there's 51 of them. They still needed to load 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe I missed a row, but I think there's 51, give or take 3 more. So 51 to 55 of those things on there. So it doesn't seem like those could just be like, oh, some regular other clone troopers or anything like that. And it doesn't seem like they would just be anything, you know? Like those are something that has to be important some way. I don't know what way, but they have to be important some way. And I think a zombie trooper isn't even enough to make it happen. Like it has to be some type of creation or some type of mixture of something. And we also know that, hey, Marok was probably one of these creatures of whatever they were, right? But Marok, you could use a lightsaber and all that other shit. So who knows? They could be some type of Night Inquisitor. You know what I mean? That would be insane if they're all some type of Darth Maul-ish force energy ghost wielder. I don't know. It seems interesting though. I'm hoping next week's episode is like 4 hours long. No, I'm just playing. I feel like there's some vessels for sure. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Marok was some type of vessel, or he was at least held within some type of vessel. Skeleton Crew for sure takes place in the same time as the Mandoverse. Jude Law plays a Force user. This means we have him, Luke, Leia, Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, and Grogu repping the light side. Grogu's not really repping the light side really like that. He's more repping the Mandalorian side. But, you know, I guess you can say they also are repping the light side. You know what I mean? But I guess when you strictly talk about Force users, then yeah, we can definitely say that too, you know? But my man Grogu is a straight up Mando baby. A baby Lorian. Do you think any of this connects back to Palpatine? Yeah, I do, especially once we found, like, when we were dealing with the Sith in episode 9, right? When we were on the planet and we were in like the Sith temple or whatever, and we were dealing with them, they were definitely getting into to some magic shit, you know. And I feel like the magic is really from the witches of Dathomir, because we know that as we've learned, they're like they're the OGs of the Star Wars, of the OGs of the Star Wars stuff as we know it, right? So it's very possible that they might be connected in some way, and even bringing the great mothers here to this side of the galaxy from their side of the galaxy. Maybe that even brought a little bit of magic stuff going on with them. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I can for sure see Thrawn's actions are what helps and leads to Palpatine getting back. How funny was that line? The Emperor died? That's what people are saying. Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, for them, they don't know one way or the other, you know? For the little people of the galaxy, they don't know. They just know, like, hey, you know, they told us that he died. But once again, you got the cloning stuff going on with, Moff Gideon. Like, look at all the stuff that Moff Gideon was doing with cloning himself and getting all that cloning shit going. And then you also have Thrawn using magic to create these other beings of some type. So it's like we now have this mixture of magic and force getting into the creation of other beings. And now, you know, it's very possible that we can get it moving somewhere else. Because I'm pretty sure Moff Gideon had said that his clones, like, were force-sensitive clones, right? Like, that was the whole thing, is being able to create a force-sensitive clone. That was Moff Gideon's main focus. And I'm pretty sure he did that, but they got destroyed. But that technology is still out there and able to be utilized for Palpatine. And, you know, as soon as we know what was going on with Marok and why his little force body was able to be held within that container, because what it seemed like was his being was, the consciousness was in the suit, like magic, ghost smoke, dust. And that's why we couldn't see his face, because there was no face. It was just a suit full of magic smoke that was controlling the suit, which is kind of like a zombie, but not really a zombie. So it's very zombie-esque, because it is a force, but it's killable, though. And it's like, yeah, one of those doesn't seem too bad. One Marok doesn't seem too bad, but that's up against a Jedi. So what happens when we have 51 Maroks, all force wielders, like magic force? They're basically force clones, but they're magic clones instead of force clones. So we just got a whole bunch of shit going on in Star Wars right now, and we need to get some categorization of some things, because it's about to get sticky. It's about to get quite sticky. The situation is about to get quite sticky. I was fully ready for all of the night troopers to come back alive after they were fighting them. I was ready for their bodies to just be like, and like just raise and just keep fighting them. And they were, but we didn't go that direction, which is okay. You know what messed me up? In Mon Mothma's scene, I was frantically trying to read the subtext of things being said. I know she's neck deep in a major conspiracy in the other show she's on. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. But that other show that she's on is before this era of Star Wars that we're in. You know, so, but I do understand what you're saying, because we did get to see her in something else too, didn't we? Maybe I'm tripping. Was it just Andor that we got to see her in Yeah, it was just Andor and Ahsoka. Then while I was trying to get back in my mind what the conspiracy was, I remembered. Oh yeah, the rebellion, completely different time period. Exactly. Yeah, that is definitely something that is gonna throw off a lot of people. Is having it's not gonna throw us off, but it is gonna throw us off. I mean, even just now with me and like thinking of the Mandalorian as Andor. You know, like, it's possible that you were thinking that happened in The Mandalorian, but it was really in Andor. But we did have all that other conspiracy shit going on in The Mandalorian as well with the scientist dude when we were on that planet. So a lot of the wires can get crossed right there for sure. Quite easily. Yeah, I was having the slow brains. Yeah, it's okay. I had the slow brains too. That was a great episode. I'm getting more and more excited still. Like, I'm pumped for next week's finale. I think we're going to have a grandiose time with the finale and getting to figure out all of the stuff that we like has been presented before us. We have a lot going on when it comes to the Mandoverse as well, and we've heard a lot of references back into the Mandoverse. And it's like, for me, the reason why I am so heavily set on the possibility of Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra being trapped in this galaxy is there is just no way that Luke's Jedi Academy would not have had Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka there to help defend against the Snoke attack stuff that was going on, you know? Like that just seems like there has to be something that happened at that point for them to then not be there for the next 30 years of shit to go down. And then Kylo Ren takes charge of the First Order. Like, how did we get there? I feel like we are doing a really good job of building up to the point of how we get there. And that's why I can agree with, I think it was Nighthawk that said, in the Mandoverse movie, it has to be Infinity War. Like, unfortunately, we have to lose. Like, all of this has to come to us losing, because if we win, then there's no way that the First Order can come into power. That's just not going to happen. In my brain, it's not going to happen. Because there's too many people. You think Kylo freaking Ren, if Kylo Ren had Ahsoka, Anakin's Padawan there's no way that Kylo would have became a Kylo Ren. He would have just been Ben Solo, because you know what I mean? Like, Ahsoka would have not let that slide, because it would have been everything to her to raise him as a, like, what? To not let him fall to the same path as his grandfather? Bro, there's just no way that would have slid for any of them. Any of the people that we're talking about. Ezra wouldn't have let it slide, because he had Kanan rocking for him super tough. So it just doesn't make sense. Sabine, we got the Mandalorian here too. Like, so what? The Mandalorian are just letting it slide now? Like, what? Like, what are we missing? What are we missing? So that's why that is the movie, the Mandoverse movie, has to be Infinity War, because Episode 9 is Endgame, unfortunately. You know? You know what I'm saying? Like, Episode 9 is Endgame. So we gotta lose, and we lose tremendously here. This is where we lose at. And the rebuilding of the New Republic and the rebuilding of everything that's going on. So that maybe that's where that's where Skeleton Crew comes in a little bit more, giving some more context as to that. Because isn't the whole thing about Skeleton Crew is they, like, the kids and Jude Law are, like, lost in space? Maybe they're lost in this other galaxy that we're in now. And that might have some connection to Ahsoka, possibly. Who knows? I like Thrawn being like, Oh shit, she was Anakin's Padawan? Yeah, I like that too. I like that a lot. I like that like a lot. That made me super hyped to see that happen. I was like, yeah, that's right, Thrawn. And he literally had to wait a second. Like, he was like, yeah, this changes everything, bro. I can't do any of the things that I would do normally. He was like, yeah, Anakin was not he was not the guy to mess with. So we got to kind of get it together. I really love that. Why does Star Wars insist on telling stories out of chronological order? Yeah, it's one of my biggest pet peeves as well. Especially because we're going to have, like, think about that. Like, we have Andor taking place all the way back before we even get to Rogue One, right? That's setting, that show is basically setting up Rogue One, which is already in the past. So that is a prequel to a prequel. And then we also are getting The Acolyte, which is actually going to be one of the oldest canon Star Wars stories that we will ever have. And yeah, it's going to be the oldest canon Star Wars story that we have, giving us a huge insight on a time in the past yet again. But then we're also having Skeleton Crew that's set in the Mandoverse era. And then we're going to also have the Rey movie that's set after the sequel trilogy. And then we're going to have, you know what I mean? It's like, we're a little bit everywhere, and I'm hoping that we stop being everywhere. But I think Star Wars is just going to always continue to do that. Because, I mean, even if you look at their books, their comics, they're in the High Republic, they're in the New Republic. They're in all eras of Star Wars with every piece of media that they create, even down to the content that they were making. Because I'm pretty sure, like, Star Wars Resistance had came out, and that was in the sequel trilogy era. And that, it had BB-8 in it. And then I'm pretty sure there was, there's just a lot of Star Wars stuff going on everywhere. So we definitely got to get that chronological order stuff going at some point to see what the hell the whole galaxy is looking like. For real. And I'm pretty sure Star Wars Explained will get on that. Great episode. Let me know what you would rate that episode out of 10 in the comment section down below. I definitely give that a 9.5 to continue on the trend. I'm excited to get next week's episode cracking. See what's going on with Baylan, what Shin's gonna end up doing. See if that has any connection to anything else that's going on in the Star Wars universe. My theory before was that Baylan and Shin were actually like time traveling, utilizing the world between worlds, and they were actually going to connect into the Acolyte show. But I don't think that's what's going to go on. I don't think that's what's going to actually happen. But that was my initial theory from like the first trailer that we saw. That was the first theory that I had was, they're from that era. They're going to be from that era of the Acolyte. They're using the world between worlds. I don't know, but I don't know what could happen next. I definitely want Baylan to create a new Jedi Order of some kind. Yeah. I feel like I'm being a little judgier of Ahsoka than I want to be. I wasn't going to say nothing, Ma. I wasn't going to say nothing, Mary Sue, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It might be because we're also watching Wheel of Time at the same time, and so I'm constantly comparing everything back to that. Yeah, that's 100% possible, because Wheel of Time, I like Wheel of Time more than I'm liking Ahsoka right now, and that's not an issue for me, though, because I think Ahsoka is doing a fantastic job. Like, I really do. I think I love everything that's going on with Ahsoka. I just like Wheel of Time a little bit more right now, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's a lot of vibes going back to Wheel of Time, too. Like, my guy Baylan is definitely giving Ishmael vibes. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of Ishmael vibes. And I don't know what that means, but that's what that is. And I think that's why I like his character so much, because I like Ishmael's character a lot as well. So, it's definitely dope to see a lot of, similarities to other things that are going on. And I'm super hyped to see where this show continues to go, as well as Will of Time. So, yeah. I am super ready for part 8. I would not be surprised if it was like an hour length, because that just seems like something Dave Filoni would do. It's like finette, like be like, oh yeah, here's this, and then boom. It's the lore density. Will of Time doesn't waste a single second finding ways to cram info into your brain. Yeah, and I think that's a big thing with Star Wars is we've already had so much lore and world building set out for us and all these other shows and things that I think it might be hard to continue to expand on that lore in the way that we expect it to be expanded on. Because in a lot of ways, they have expanded on the lore quite a bit, but I think we were expecting a lot more answers than the ones that or different answers than the one that they've been giving us. What do I think the title will be for the final episode? I don't know, but it has to be something just as poetic as what we've been getting as of late. Because what was this episode titled? This episode was titled Dreams and Madness. What did Balin call the story? The tale? What was it? The Path to Peridia or something like that? Isn't that what he said in like the earlier episode? He was like the Path to Peridia or the Space to Peridia or something like that. I think that could be the title for the last episode. It was like a Path to Peridia or whatever. Because that's kind of how it feels like with this show, is that it's going to be very cyclical to where we don't necessarily start where we ended, but we get that payoff of, you know, this is what this is. And I'm pretty sure he called it the Path to Peridia. So that's what I'll say. Prediction for the finale. For the finale, I do kind of feel like we are going to sacrifice everything to keep Thrawn from getting back to the other galaxy. To me, that seems to be the only way we don't have that crazy spillover of not knowing anything about Thrawn coming back or zombie troopers or anything of aligns the shit that he's been doing, you know? Like, I feel like that's the only way we get that outcome is by stopping Thrawn from getting back to the regular galaxy with his army. And I think that means stranding Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine in this other universe, but together type of vibe. Unfortunately, that's kind of what I don't know why, but that's just what I feel is going to, like, in my brain, that feels like the next thing that's going to happen, because we can't let them get back to the galaxy. I don't know why, but we just can't let them get back to the galaxy. Even though it's very, because to me, the only way that they get out of that is if they hijack the ring first. Is if they get back to the ring, jump on it, hijack it, and take it back to the new galaxy before before Thrawn and his army get to it. Because I don't think we're gonna have some big giant space battle or anything like that. I think it's just gonna be them. I don't know, man. I don't know, honestly. I really can't even, because if we do anything like that, then we just kind of end with like how we ended with Rebels, you know? Which is something that may be very possible because we know Dave Filoni, once again, loves the circle storytelling, the cyclical storytelling, to be like, hey, yo, and now we end just like we started, going to another galaxy, but we're going back to the galaxy they came from. You know what I mean? Like, I could see that being the end of the show, but I just don't want that to happen. So, I don't know. Also, I need to know what Enoch's deal is. That's a biblical reference, but I don't remember the details. It's definitely intentional, though, and has to be hinting at something. Enoch, it's very possible that Enoch, okay, if I'm not mistaken, in the Bible, Enoch is like God's, he's one of the only humans to be able to get into heaven because he stands as like the herald of God, you know, almost, you know what I mean? So, like, that might be, like, he is the herald of, in this case, Thrawn, and Thrawn may be like the god to the Dathomirians, to the Dathomiri, you know? He may be like a god to them, so he is like the next in line or something. But he definitely does give some different vibes. And knowing that he's my boy from The Expanse definitely makes me be like, what the hell does that mean? Prediction. Thrawn takes out Home One in a surprise attack, decapitating the New Republic fleet. Also demoralizing because of its iconic participation in the Battle of Endor. Ooh. Okay, and I could see something like that occurring to be like the big event that also creates the First Order, because we have to have a big event to bring the First Order into place. I think that's kind of the thing is what caused that to occur? What caused the rise of the First Order? Oh shit, I didn't know that. This tells you all the Star Wars The High Republic. What's that? Oh, the books that I was talking about. Okay, I got you. Because we're in the New Republic era right now. So, what is this? Oh, Galaxy's Edge? Oh, okay. So it's like, the Empire has been defeated, and the emergent New Republic faces the great challenge of rebuilding and reuniting the galaxy. It is a tentative and fragile peace threatened by the remnants of the Empire. Oh, wait, the game. I keep forgetting that games are canon. So where is Survivor? Here we go. Kenobi, and then Survivor, then Andor, then Rebels, then Vader Immortal, and then Rogue One. Because I'm pretty sure these are also in the canon order. I had no idea that there was this much information at our disposal. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just on the Star Wars website, this is kind of awesome. I kind of wish Marvel had something like this. Because we don't know about the Dawn of the Jedi. We don't know about the Old Republic. Yeah. So, after the New Republic, we have the Rise of the First Order. So, in secret, the legacy of the Empire transforms into the First Order and strikes a devastating blow against the New Republic. A fledgling resistance and new generation of heroes are left to stand against a resurrected enemy. Ooh, against a resurrected enemy? They thought they was cooking when they wrote that. They thought they was cooking, yo. Oh my God, they knew they were in the kitchen with Crisco when they was writing that, yo. They already knew. They was like, yeah, son, a resurrected enemy is crazy. So is this devastating blow against the New Republic what we're seeing this build up to, right? Like all of this shows and everything that's happening in the Mandoverse is building up to this devastating blow. So we have we only have 3 shows that are actually taking place in this time, which is kind of crazy. So that means we need, because we're getting the Skeleton Crew in this era. I think the Skeleton Crew is like the last thing that we know in this era, other than the movie. Look at how different Ahsoka's title is than everything else. Kind of interesting, right? Ooh, okay. My title prediction is going to be Out of the Ashes. Oh, that's actually fire. Out of the Ashes. No, that's actually fire. Yeah, that's fire. I mean, the titles for the show have been insane, though. Master and Apprentice. Toil and Trouble. Time to Fly. Fallen Jedi. Shadow Warrior. Far, Far Away. And then whatever the hell today's episode was titled, I can't remember. Dreams and Madness. They've been talking a lot about like stories being real and not being like, you know what I mean? Like fact and fiction or nonfiction and fiction when it comes to stories. So I could see something like that, you know, like truth and folk tales or something like that, or time and space. Something like that. I could see time and space. Yeah, because he definitely mentioned space. Or time, excuse me. He was like, you're out of the one thing you needed. Or, you know, she's out of the one thing she couldn't run out of. Time. Yeah, I like that. Out of the Ashes. This is a dope name too, though. Those are both good. Yeah, those are some good names. And it's still gonna somehow be, you know, even crazier than that. And I have no idea what that means. But with all that being said, I definitely appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in with me for today's watch party and review of Ahsoka Episode 7. And I am super excited for what we have to get going with the next, with the next season, with the next episode. I can see if we get another season of this, that actually makes sense. For some reason, I was kind of assuming that this would kind of be a one and done season. But now that we're in the season, it definitely feels like we could be going into the future with Ahsoka season 2, Mando season whatever, and keep it going and getting some more crossover going between everything. Because I can see it get to the point to where Mando is with Ahsoka, and like the episodes of Mandalorian and the episodes of Ahsoka have both of them on both of them, and it doesn't it's just everything. I know a lot of people have been saying like we might see the next season focus on Bo-Katan instead of Din Djarin, and I know a lot of people are kind of some people have been tripping off of that, some people haven't. I think whatever we get, it's going to continue to build the lore of Star Wars and creating some badass vibes and just keeping that amazing political interest going. And it's kind of interesting because I think the last 2 Star Wars shows that we've gotten have been a lot more political, in a lot of ways, and I feel like this show has been way more with the Force than with the politics of things, like just giving us that like the sense of the Force, I wanted to rage after that scene with Huyang and Ahsoka. I was literally whispering, "Don't you dare cut away!" just as he begins the story. I know you're gonna do it, but don't do it. Yeah, I was very, very. I didn't like that either. I'm not gonna lie, and I think that is from us watching the Wheel of Time right now. Because in the Wheel of Time, 100%, Huyang would have finished that story, and it would have added so much depth to what was going on as well. I'm here for it though. I think you have the right idea about just calling these shows Star Wars and let everybody cross over. Yeah, it just makes the most sense. It makes the most sense to have that be the vibe of being like, oh yeah, this is Star Wars, like Star Wars. And then, just have whatever the title be, the way that, like Star Wars, The Mandalorian, or whatever, Star Wars and Ahsoka or Ahsoka or whatever, like, because it just doesn't feel the same when you have all these other shows splitting up the story almost, because Star Wars feels a lot more controlled than that, I guess you could say, right? Like it almost feels out of control when you have all these different weaves going in all these different directions, and they're all supposed to be leading to the same thing though, when it's like, just having like, See, imagine that in your brain, like the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, and Grogu all together. Like, that would be mind-melting goodness. And I know they're going to probably save that for the movie, so we can, like, literally have our minds melt then, but still. It just seems like the best vibe to go with. It's, at least once we get the story a little bit more brought in together, because we're telling a story across literal time and space. So that's kind of what I understand what Filoni is doing, because they are telling a story across time and space, and then that story that is getting told across time and space is also going to write the future of what's going to happen. I understand the poeticness behind it, poeticism, if you will, but I need something a little bit more controlled at least when it comes to the timeline. But like I said, I definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in and vibing out with y'all, boy. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Marvel Bros to stay up to date with all the latest news, movie reviews, and content that we post every single day. You can also follow me on social media at Sensei Finito to stay up to date with all my thoughts, theories, and opinions on whatever particular thing we're going to be partaking in within that particular time. Tomorrow we have that's the old one. tomorrow we have our Wheel of Time discussion going on, so make sure y'all tune in for that. It's definitely going to be a good old time. Let's see. Where is it at? Where it's at? Bam. We're going to have our Wheel of Time discussion on episode 6. Getting ready for episode 7 this week. It's definitely going to be a fantastic episode. I can't wait for it. I'm super hyped. Ahsoka was definitely great yet again. And I hope everyone enjoyed the episode today. And next week's episode is the finale. I can't believe we're already here for the finale. But we're at the finale. It's just gonna be a good old time. That thumbnail, poor Eggy. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to do y'all like that. I'm sorry. But we got to talk about it, and we gonna cry about it. It's okay. It's okay. I don't mean to bring up old wounds, but I have to. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in and vibing out. It's about to be a good old time today. A good old time the rest of this week, I guess you could say, for here at Marvel Bros and with Nerding Out and all that good stuff. I hope everyone else has a good rest of their day. And as I always say, stay awesome, stay nerdy, and don't forget to stay marvelous. Excelsior.
If you guys would like to support Marvel Bros, all you gotta do is visit our website at www.marvelbros.com and buy some merch. Represent the superfan. Or you can join our Patreon to get early access to content, patron-only scoops, giveaways, private Q&As, and those sacred watch parties. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Excelsior.
On today's pop culture news update.